I am now going to overview the chapter, The Printing Processes, and I'm going to do it by initially introducing you to two broad categories, sheet fed presses and web presses. These categories are typically well understood by people in the printing and publishing industry. Sheet fed presses prints on individual sheets of paper, as opposed to continuous rolls of paper used on web presses. Sheet-fed presses come in different sizes. Quick printers, for example, often use small presses that print on letter-sized pages. The larger commercial sheet-fed presses handle larger sheets of paper. And sheet-fed presses can also print on cardstock, plastics, metals, and on other substrates. A sheet-fed press may consist of multiple print units that each prints a different color of ink. On the other hand, the web press prints on continuous rolls of paper and other substrates. A web press is typically used for high-volume printing, such as for magazines and newspapers. They are faster than typical sheet-fed presses, and some types of web presses can print on both sides of the paper at the same time. This is called perfecting. Like sheet-fed presses, web presses can consist of several connected units for printing different colors of ink, as well as provide finishing processes such as cutting, folding, and punching. I am now going to distinguish between traditional and digital processes. The traditional printing processes, dating well over 100 years, are letterpress, offset lithography, gravure, flexography, and screen printing. Some of the key original equipment manufacturers for traditional printing include Bops Rotamac for gravure printing, the Cerruti Company for gravure, Gauss International for offset, Heidelberg for offset, KBA for offset, Manroland for offset, Mark Andy for flexography, and Ryobi MHI for offset. There are others, but these are just a few of the key players in the field that are producing technology falling under the category of traditional printing. In contrast to traditional printing, digital printing processes date back to the 1980s and 1990s. While relatively new, digital printing has become traditional in its own right for digital printing processes. They include inkjet printing, electrostatic printing, electrophotographic printing, and HP Indigo electro ink printing. I'll describe this last category in more detail later on. For now, I'm going to refer back to the traditional printing processes. I'm going to start off with letterpress. Letterpress is printing from a raised surface. It is the oldest of the present printing processes and was mostly replaced by offset lithography printing in the 1950s and 1960s. Letterpress printing still is used for some specialized printing and limited edition applications. It represents less than 3% of all printing and is used primarily for embossing, die cutting, and foil stamping. In printing, the image is wrong reading on the plate and transferred directly from the plate to the substrate where the image appears as right reading. Letterpress plates are typically made of zinc, copper, or photopolymer. I'm now going to talk about offset lithography. Offset lithography is the most commonly used commercial printing process, though rapidly gaining competition from digital inkjet and electrophotographic toner and other digital processes. In offset lithography, rather than pressing inked images onto paper using plates with raised images or etched plates, an image is transferred to the paper using paste inks, specially treated plates, and an offset cylinder. The image and non-image areas of the printing plate are on the same plane. Hence, this process is also called planographic printing. In brief, the offset lithography process works by first transferring an image photographically or thermally to thin metal, paper, or plastic plates. Rollers apply ink, usually oil-based ink, and fountain solution, mostly water, is applied to the plates as well. Since oil and water do not mix, the oil-based inks do not adhere to the non-image areas. Only the inked image portion is then transferred to a synthetic rubber blanket mounted on a blanket cylinder that then transfers the image onto the paper as it passes between it and an impression cylinder beneath the paper. The term offset refers to the image being not printed directly to the paper from the plates, but is offset or transferred to another surface that then makes contact with the paper. The image areas of the plate are ink receptive, or called oleophilic, and water repellent, and the non-image areas of the plate are water receptive, or hydrophilic, and ink repellent. Offset lithography, or offset printing, is used on sheet-fed as well as web presses. Next, I'm going to talk about gravure printing. The gravure printing process is used for printing and coding applications that fall into three major categories: publication gravure, packaging gravure, and specialty printing gravure. The publication field includes magazines, mail order catalogs, brochures, newspaper supplements, comics, and other types of commercial printing. Packaging consists of folding cartons and flexible packages, including, for example, soap cartons, ice cream cartons, frozen food wraps, composite foil cans, and polyethylene bread bags. The specialty gravure field includes wall and floor coverings, decorated household paper products such as towels and tissue, vinyl upholstery, wood grains, plastic laminates, and a wide variety of other products. Gravure is also used for applying accurately metered quantities of coating to paper and other substrates. Gravure can be thought of as the opposite of letterpress. It involves printing from a recessed surface. The image is actually beneath the surface of the plate or cylinder. And the typical plate is a large copper or chrome surfaced cylinder. The image is made of microscopic wells or cells that are etched or engraved. Gravure is a high-cost process and a time-consuming plate-making process. However, it is economical for very long runs and is also used for extremely high-quality printing. A printing unit of the gravure press consists of a gravure cylinder and an impression roll with attached inking and doctoring mechanisms. A gravure press may consist of from 1 to 8 or more printing units that are coupled together with paper feeding and roll or folding delivery arrangements. One or more gravure units may run as an inline operation coupled with other printing, coding, and converting operations. The fourth traditional printing process is flexography. Flexography has been gradually growing for many years and frequently used for printing on plastic, foil, acetate, film, brown paper, toilet tissue, bags, pressure-sensitive labels, corrugated board, paper and plastic bags, milk cartons, disposable cups, candy bar wraps, envelopes, labels, and newsprint. Flexography is also used for promotional or prime labels, booklet labels, instant redemption coupons, and encapsulated game pieces, and materials such as foil, hard calendared paper, cellophane, polyethylene, and other plastic films, and other materials used in the packaging field. Flexography uses flexible printing plates made of synthetic rubber or plastic, including photopolymers. The inked plates have a slightly raised image and are rotated on a cylinder that transfers the image to the substrate. Currently, a large percentage of all packaging is printed by flexography. Growth in corrugated cartons and flexible packaging, as well as a trend to move away from glue-applied labels to pressure-sensitive labels, should keep flexography growing in the years ahead. The final traditional printing process I'm going to describe right now is screen printing. Screen printing is the simplest of the major printing processes and is popular for short-run printing. It requires a very heavy ink film thickness, and is normally a slow manual process, though automated sheet-fed and web presses are available. Screen printing can accommodate a wide variety of substrates that differ in shape, size, and material. Included among the printable materials are paper, plastic, pressure-sensitive, labels, textiles, metal, glass, ceramic, leather, and even wood. Objects having cylindrical and irregular shapes, such as containers, barrels, glassware, and bottles, are frequently decorated by means of screen printing. Screen printing is a very versatile printing process. It's based on simple stenciling techniques. Modern screen printing uses precisely woven mesh to support a stencil where an image is defined by open areas. The open areas allow ink to pass through the top of the screen to the substrate below. A wide variety of press types are available for screen printing. The most common is a flatbed press, where the squeegee is drawn back and forth over a stationary screen while the substrate is held firmly with a vacuum bed. Cylinder presses employ another printing method. The screen is driven back and forth under a stationary squeegee as the substrate is simultaneously moved from under the printing point by a cylindrical vacuum. Such presses are used to print cylindrical objects by rotating the object under the moving screen. Most industrial and commercial screen printing applications can be classified in 5 main groups: textile, decal, point of purchase, container and nameplate, and electronic. Now on to the digital printing processes. Digital printing has made possible variable data printing, often referred to as VDP, as well as on-demand printing. On-demand printing is similar to traditional printing, where, for example, each piece printed is exactly the same, yet produced when needed and usually in short runs. Variable data printing involves being able to produce each piece with different text, different pictorial images, but also on demand. Some of the key equipment manufacturers in the digital arena are companies that will sound familiar, such as Canon OSE, EFI, Fujifilm, Hewlett-Packard, KBA, Kodak, Komori, Konica Minolta, Landa, Memjet, Pitney Bowes, Ricoh, Riso, Screen Americas, Zante, Zycon, and Xerox. There are others, but these are some of the main players in the digital printing equipment arena. The main digital printing systems, as defined by their print engines, are inkjet printing, electrostatic laser printing, electrophotographic laser printing, and HP Indigo electro ink printing. First, inkjet. Typically, an inkjet printer forms images by spraying tiny droplets of liquid ink onto paper. The small size and precision placement of the dots of ink allow inkjet printers to produce near photo quality images. There are two primary inkjet technologies. They are thermal bubble or bubble jet and piezoelectric. The former uses heat and the latter uses a crystal and electric charge to apply the ink. Less expensive models of inkjet printers have all ink in a single cartridge, while the better inkjet printers provide individual cartridges for each color of ink so that you only replace the empty ones. Some inkjet printers employ a hybrid dye sublimation process. The color is contained in cartridges, heated, vaporized, and laid down a strip at a time, rather a page at a time, creating an effect closer to continuous tone than traditional inkjet technology. Inkjet printing is also classified as continuous drop, a stream of ink, and drop on demand, which is ink squirted only when needed. Ink drops are deflected via electrostatic charges, and inkjet inks usually are water-based or water-soluble and easily smudged. Hence, it must be coated to prevent smearing in some cases. Some of the more modern systems do not require such coating. In the past, in the early years of inkjet, the process was pretty much limited to addressing, coding, computer letters, sweepstake forms, and personalized direct mail advertising. However, today that has changed, and inkjet is used for short, medium, and even long-run printing and for color proofing. Electrostatic laser printing is the principle behind laser printers. A revolving drum or cylinder builds up an electrical charge. A tiny laser beam pointed at the drum discharges the surface in the pattern of the letters and images to be printed, creating a surface with positive and negative areas. The surface is then coated with toner. a fine powder that is positively charged, so it clings only to the negatively charged areas and is then passed onto the paper to form the positive image. The paper then passes through heated rollers, fusing the toner to the paper. Color lasers make multiple passes in order to mix the different color toners. Electrophotographic laser printing is similar to high-speed copier technology. It operates on the principle of xerography. However, electrophotographic printers operate from digital data and also use lasers. Images are created by a moving laser beam across an imaging drum. The image is developed with dry or liquid toners and works well for single color printing and high quality color printing. HP Indigo electro ink printing is not inkjet and not toner printing. It involves a specially formulated ink that is proprietary and patented. It is designed specifically for HP Indigo presses, on which all ink is removed from a blanket after each impression. Hence, the process is an offset process. The following are commonalities among all digital printing systems. First, they're designed for a run of 50 or under, or 20,000 and over. They involve complete digital workflows. They involve computer-to-press applications, where digital data is directly sent to the press cylinder. They involve digital make-readies. They involve image and de-image and image directly to plate or cylinder. They include ink or toner cartridges. They have inline finishing. They have integration with prepress and print-on-demand capabilities. There is no chemical plate processing. There's no dampening solution such as in lithography. They're all waterless. There is no film involved. There is on-press imaging using optical head writers to image plates. They're all perfecting, meaning they can print on both sides of the sheet in one pass through the press. They can be used for printing and proofing, and they're all designed for short-run printing. Now, some of the commonalities among most of the systems are automatic ink control, color management, a combination of offset and digital, commercial printing applications, customization and personalization for documents, dots that have variable density, electronic job tickets, being able to produce 4 or more colors, inline finishing including stitching, stapling, folding, trimming, and perfect binding, integrated management systems, internet allowing diagnosis of system functions, imaging from the internet, from the World Wide Web, job ticket-based job submission, immediate job changes, no plates at all, automatic plate loading or unloading in cases where plates are being used, press changeover in 10 minutes or less, the application of product packaging, real-time diagnosis of problems, remote job management, variable data for personalization, a variety of different kinds of paper stocks and foils and transparencies that can be used, and being web-fed. In conclusion, what I've just completed was a review of the major printing processes. There are others, and these others are described in detail in this chapter. They include color type printing, dot matrix printing, dye sublimation printing, electron beam imaging printing, ion deposition printing, light-emitting diode printing, magnetographic printing, screenless printing, solid ink printing, stochastic screening and frequency modulation printing, thermal printing, and wide format printing. I encourage you to spend time in this chapter to digest the different systems, how they work, how they're used, and their major applications for printing, publishing, packaging, and related graphic communication fields.